Today I'm going to talk about Chinese tea culture. I divide it into 4 parts. The first part is about the history of Chinese tea culture. The second part is about Chinese tea and Western countries' coffee. The third part is the variety and effect of the tea. And the fourth part is the current situation. The reason why I choose this topic is because I started to drink tea with my father and mother from junior high school. My parents always go to the tea house at weekend, and I sometimes go to the tea house with them. From the tea house, I can not only know a lot of things about tea, but also the smell of the tea, the variety of the tea, and the history of tea. So I choose this topic to do my presentation. When I came to Japan, I also start to drink coffee sometimes, but I find there are some negative effects after drinking the coffee. So I also want to make a comparison with the tea and the coffee. According to one of Chinese legends, the tea was discovered about 5,000 years ago by Shen Nongshi, whose name means divine farmer. According to literature and history, after the discovery of tea, our ancestors only took wild fresh leaves and boiled soap raw. In the long years, it has developed from raw cooking to dyeing and storage. From 220 to 264 AD, tea was picked up for cakes and the tea began to be initially processed. By the Tang Dynasty, the method of steaming green bowl was invented. This method is to pick the fresh leaves to go through thick process such as steaming, pounding, patting, baking, pressing, and sealing. This is steaming the fresh leaves, pounding them, put them into a certain model, and pat them into a certain shape by hand. As we all know that tea in China is as popular as coffee in Western countries. People from all social classes love drinking tea, and China is the earliest country to cultivate and drinking tea. Westerners like to drink coffee as a habit. Coffee was introduced into North America in 19th century, where Americans had a habit of drinking coffee in 18th century. In addition, coffee contains caffeine, which can effectively improve people's spirit and make them excited. Therefore, it is loved by Westerners. Coffee is made from roast ground coffee beans, which contains protein, fat, potassium, sodium, calcium, zinc. Its main function is to wake up, refresh, and relieve alcohol. People who are used to drinking coffee have headache, irritability, muscle tension, and nervousness if they stop drinking coffee. At the same time, pay attention to following aspects when drinking coffee. Hypertension, coronary heart disease is not suitable for coffee. Such people drink coffee for a long time, which cause cardiovascular and cerebrovascular disease. Pregnant women are not suitable for coffee. Coffee factors enter the fetus through the placenta, resulting in fetal malformation or abortion. The patients with stomach disease should not drink more coffee. Drinking coffee in the elderly leads to calcium deficiency, leg pain, bone pain, and so on, because the elderly needs 10 times more calcium than before. Children should not drink coffee because caffeine can excite the children's central nervous system and may cause ADHD. Let's talk about the tea. Its main component is terpenes. Terpenes are the most soluble components in tea, and they are also the main substance in tea to play a role of health care. In addition, there are tea pigments and tea polysaccharides. So what are the health functions of tea? It can improve immunity and bactericidal power. It lowers blood pressure and help reduce the risk of diabetes. It is helpful to prevent and treat Alzheimer's disease. It has anti-stress and anti-anxiety effect. It has the effect of reducing weight. There are many kinds of tea in China, and it is most classified according to its processing method. Fully fermented tea is called red tea, but it is known as black tea among foreigners. Unfermented tea is called green tea, and leaves remain olive green. Hot-fermented tea is called oolong. The scented tea, which smells like flowers, is made by mixing green tea with flowers petals through an elaborate process. Chinese people are used to drinking hot tea. Many experts said that once tea cools off, its nutrients disappear and it is no longer good to our health. I personally tried to compare drinking coffee for 2 weeks with drinking oolong tea for 2 weeks, and concluded that drinking black coffee can make people's heart beat faster and wake up, but they are more dependent, and not drinking coffee after 2 weeks makes me anxious. It has no effect on weight loss. In comparison, oolong tea will not make me heart beat faster, nor it make me awake, and it cannot be dependent. It cannot stimulate my central nervous system, but it still has a certain effect on weight loss. I'm about 0.7 kilograms lighter than before. With the improvement of people's living standards, the natural and healthy characteristic of tea, and the promotion of tea culture, tea is increasingly accepted. The main consumer of tea has also varied from middle-aged and elder-aged people to various young people, and there are also great differences in the consumption demand for tea by different categories of consumers. At the same time, tea consumption has been continuously extended and refined from original gifts of self-drinking, resulting in diversified new needs and new models. The sudden coronavirus has brought great challenges to all walks of life, as well as different degrees of impact on tea market and consumption. This coronavirus has made consumer focus more healthy and self-consumption needs for a period of time in the future. At the end of coronavirus, the suppressed consumer demand should be released in the short term.